What's going on, guys? Don Marino here. Today, got a top 5 video for you. Let's get into it. So today's video is going to be the top 5 PC parts and in what order you should upgrade them. So we're going to go from 5 to 1. 5 is going to be the thing you should upgrade last. 1 is going to be the absolute. If you only had this much money, this is the thing you should upgrade. It's going to make the biggest difference. So number 5 is going to be the RAM. RAM is one of those things that unless you're doing a lot of video processing and that's all you're doing with your computer, you don't need a lot of it. 8 gigabytes is enough to get by in most modern games. 16 is that comfort zone where if you don't have 8, you might want to jump up to 16. That way you just have that little bit of a cushion. If you know you're streaming and you have OBS open and you're running a game that's already taken up like 6 gigabytes, you know, that little extra is going to help you have that headroom to feel safe. But it is one of the last things I would upgrade. I would save it off for some of these other things. So number 4 is going to be the CPU cooler. If you are at all thinking about overclocking or even running your CPU at stock speeds, the CPU cooler is going to help keep those speeds or those temps down quite a bit. And with keeping the temps down, that's going to help the longevity of your CPU. You know, if you plan on using this for a while and you don't want it to burn out on you, you know, a CPU can only take so many heat cycles. It can only take so many times heating up to 90 degrees Celsius before it starts to have problems and wanting to quit on you. And definitely, without a doubt, if you're planning on overclocking, most of the time the stock cooler that comes in the box is just not going to be good enough. For me, I remember when I first started overclocking, I tried overclocking the Ryzen 5 2600. I barely got from 3.4 to 3.7 without hitting like max temps, you know, under load. And that was on the stock cooler. So it just wasn't drawing enough heat out. I'm gonna kind of put a slash in number 4, and it's also gonna be a case or case fans. If your case doesn't have enough fans, it's not gonna be able to draw that air out from your computer. It's pushing air in. What it's doing is it's sucking cool air in and pushing the hot air out. And if you don't have enough fans, or you have one intake fan, one outtake fan, the heat being dissipated from the GPU and the CPU, their heat sinks, is not gonna be able to escape, which in turn is going to make everything in the system hotter. So definitely upgrade that if you're planning on doing any overclocking or you really want your CPU to last a long time and keep those temps nice and cool. So number 3 is going to be the GPU. I know a lot of people would think this would be higher, especially on like a gaming build or even like an editing rig. However, the GPU is not going to be everything because we're going to be dealing with bottlenecks. So let's say you're running a i3 right now with a 1050. If you go and decide before your CPU to get a RTX 2070, you're not going to be using any of that RTX 2070. Your performance is going to be bottlenecked so hard because of that CPU. So that brings us into number 2. And number 2 is going to be that processor. This is going to be one of the biggest things you can upgrade to help your computer. You know, it really is the brain when you're talking about gaming. The reason that your GPU is able to do what it can is because it's relying on the CPU as well. They go one in one kind of when it comes to gaming performance. Now, if you're talking about editing, this is one of the biggest things you can upgrade. What you need most for editing is going to be those cores. It's going to be having a better CPU to edit faster and to render videos in more real time, and also to be able to buffer videos. You know, when you have a lot of plugins running, or you have a lot of filters, or you have a lot of animations, you know, these things are really going to bog down your computer when it comes to editing. That's why overall CPU is before GPU in my opinion. So number 1, the holy grail, the one you want to upgrade before all of them, the one you want to save up to. If you haven't upgraded this, you have to upgrade it. You know, we're in 2020 now. The prices on these things have dropped so low. It's crazy, and that is going to be an SSD. The SSD realistically is going to be the biggest upgrade you're going to do to your computer for everyday usage. You know, before I had the SSD versus after. So let me give you a little bit of a rundown. Before, I was running an Intel Pentium with a 1050 Ti, and I had a Western Digital 1 terabyte hard drive. And my computer was really slow, and I'm like, man, I need to upgrade. It's time to upgrade. You know, I've heard all these people talk about, oh, SSD's great. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure they're great. I don't really care. You know, I was like, you know, I'm fine with waiting an extra, minute for my PC to start up, or I'm fine with waiting 30 seconds in a loading screen. But no, it was so much more than that. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna upgrade my computer. It's just feeling slow, it's feeling bogged down. So I upgrade it, I go an upgrade path, I drop about $400 worth of, upgrades from CPU, motherboard, GPU, all that stuff. And then boom, it's not any faster. The gaming performance is better, it renders videos faster, but day-to-day tasks, open up a Chrome browser, open up DaVinci Resolve, opening up OBS, open up games, load times, nothing changed. In my head, I didn't realize it was all because the hard drive really needed to be upgraded. I didn't realize how much this was kind of a bottleneck for your system. It could be faster, but it just can't on, in hard drive. So what I did is I went out, sold some of my PC parts, dropped the $60 on a 500 gigabyte SSD, and it changed the game. I have a whole separate video coming out comparing my SSD to my hard drive and my experiences with it. But by far, number one thing to upgrade is going to be that SSD. If you haven't done it, save up, go mow some lawns, do what you got to do, get an SSD. It's going to be life-changing, especially once you make it your boot drive. Everything's going to load faster, If something freezes or crashes on your computer, you can be able to restart it in 15-20 seconds. It's such an upgrade. It's something you guys got to do. It's going to be that number one thing to do, for sure. So I really appreciate you guys watching this top 5 video that I came out with. I definitely want to do more top 5s. I know I got a couple in mind. So make sure you go down, subscribe, so you can stay tuned not to miss any of the new content coming out. Make sure you guys go down and subscribe. Until I got something else for you guys, thanks for watching.